You're such a liar, Topher. You're such a liar. I was up on Napster yesterday. I was downloading Sweet Dreams by the Eurythmics. Yeah, I get all my music from Napster, and then I play it in Real Media. Actually, I started using Winamp recently. I do everything in Winamp. Yeah. So, that's how it works. Yeah, I just got a VGA monitor. It's pretty sweet. Like, it's flat screen VGA, so it's like 640 by 480 pixels. It's like no one has something that amazing. It's made by a company called Zenith. It's really sweet. And I just added. I have a full 8 megabytes of memory on my computer right now, and I just upgraded to a 120 gigahertz. 120 megahertz Pentium. Yeah, so Intel Pentium 120, man. Hyper-threading's coming. Hyper-threading's coming when they release the 200 megahertz chip. I can't wait. Can't wait for hyper-threading. It's going to be so fast. Yeah. I was printing the other day on my 682C Hewlett-Packard printer. That thing is fast. I literally I can print the entire company logo in the time it takes me to eat dinner. It's amazing. I hit print, and then while I'm eating, it calculates the print. And then I come back from dinner and it's middle print. It's almost done. It's so amazing. You guys don't remember what it was like before computers, but man, totally amazing. I know Real Player is still used, but if you're using Real Player, you've got a problem. Real Player is still bad. That company was so bad. They so always forced you to upgrade or forced you to pay for their new player. They're really a crappy company, and they deserve to go out of business, honestly. I do not know what you mean by dire straits, for the record. Okay. Last video. Hello and welcome to Japanese from Zero. We are continuing down course 3. This is the final video for lesson 4, where we're going to talk about Japanese plurals. Now, this exact topic was covered about 70 videos ago, where I told you there are no such things as Japanese plurals. We do need to know yasumi, break or vacation or to rest. We need to know ue, up, and shita, down, and hidari, left, and migi, right. Now, we don't need to know them in this particular video, but as we are progressing through book 3, we're progressively learning the kanji. We're going to learn 80 by the end of this book. And at this point, these are the ones that we've just learned. Now, let's look at some new words. There's not a lot. And there's not even a full word for this one. It's just tachi. And it basically makes something into a group. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. But a more important word is a description of me, and that is usotsuki. Usotsuki. I am a liar. Because back in course 1, in almost, I think, the very first lesson, after we got through like counting and pronunciation, I have a section of the book that says there are no plurals in Japanese. I lied to you. But I want you to know I did it for your own good. Because for all intents and purposes, if that's how that phrase is said, I think I used to say intensive purposes. But all of the reason why I do that, where I told you there is no plurals. It's like when you're a baby or a child and your mom says, don't talk to strangers. Don't talk to any strangers, right? You're so new in the world that it's just smarter that you don't talk to anybody you don't know. Then later it's like, well, only talk to people in uniform. Or, you could talk to teachers, but don't, you start getting nuanced things. Same thing with Japanese. In the beginning, you need to know there are no plurals. Let's look at that just for a second. Okay, so plurals and singular. So here's what I mean when I say there are no plurals in Japanese. So we have this thing here. Inu ga suki desu ka? What does that mean? Inu ga suki desu ka? We learned that inu can mean dog or dogs. And in this case, inu ga suki desu ka means, do you like dogs? it doesn't mean do you like a dog, right? It could mean that. Do you like a dog? Could mean that. But contextually right now, when we say in English, do you like dogs, we always use plural. So therefore, when we translate inu ga suki desu ka into English, we use the plural form. So how would you say, yes, I really like dogs. Yes, I really like dogs. This is course 1. You should get this. はい。犬が大好きです。はい。犬が大好きです。Again, yes, I really like dogs. In this case, it only makes sense in English to use the plural because when we ask if you like some type of object, we tend to use the plural. How would you say, I only like black dogs. I only like black dogs. Now, I don't think we actually taught this. I'm just going to show it to you. I don't think we learned how to say dake. I actually don't remember, but I'm pretty sure we didn't do it. But you can put dake after a noun to say only that thing, right? For example, you say only George is Georgie dake. Only a pen, pen dake. Just pens, right? It's also just, right? Just pens. Pen dake. What do you like to drink? Coffee dake, just coffee, or only coffee, right? Coffee dake. So if you want to say, I only like black dogs, kuroi inu dake ga suki desu. Kuroi inu dake ga suki desu. Now at this point, we're still all using dogs, right? It makes sense to say dogs. But how could I force it to say, I want to force singular into Japanese, right? I only like that dog. I only like that dog, specifically that dog far away over there, far away from both of us. I only like that dog. How would you say that? Let's see if anyone gets it in the stream. I only like that dog. Here we go. Ano inu ga suki desu. So close, but you forgot the important word of dake. Okay. Fernando Gonzalez. You got it. That's very racist of me to speak that way. So you got it. You're very close. It's ano because I said it's far away from both of us, right? Ano inu dake ga suki desu. Ano inu dake ga suki desu. Now, because we have ano, we're talking about a specific dog. We have forced it into singular. Okay? So I only like that dog. So let's say you go to the doctor's and he asks you, where does it hurt? Where hurts? How do you say that? Where does it hurt? Where does it hurt? Doko ga itai desu ka? Doko ga itai desu ka? Now, if you hear this answer, mimi to me ga itai desu. Mimi to me ga itai desu. Right? In this answer, we don't know if it's one eye and one ear that hurts. We only know that ears and eyes hurt. That's all we know. Maybe there was an explosion. That would make sense. There's a big explosion. And what hurts? Oh, mimi to me ga itai desu. Because the light from the explosion and the dust that got in my eyes and the strength of the explosion hurt my ears, the loudness of the explosion, right? But how can we... Oh, this order is all wrong. Hang on. My PowerPoint is having an issue. 1 second. The animation sequence is completely wrong. 1 second here. This will take me a minute because I have to select them all and then reanimate. Okay, 1 second. I really wish you could select all of them and say animate in sequence, but they don't let you do that. All right, so here we go. All right, thank you. Sorry about that. Oops. All right. So, we had doko ga itai desu ka, where does it hurt? And the original answer was mimi to me ga itai desu. And we don't know at this point if it's one ear, one eye. We just know generically my eyes and my ears hurt. But what if we want to say specifically one of my ears hurts? Well, we have to further modify the ear, right? So we can say, for example, hidari no mimi ga itai desu. Hidari no mimi ga itai desu. My left ear hurts. Now, mimi means ear. In the prior sentence, it most likely meant ears. This is what I meant by Japanese does not have plural and singular. It's the context of the sentence that gives it its plurality or its singularity. Okay? So let's say that somebody said something and you want to know who said it. How would you say? Who said it? Who said it? 誰が言いましたか? 誰が言いましたか? Okay. My Japanese friend said it, or my Japanese friends said it. Both. How would you say that? My Japanese friend said it. 日本人の友達が言いました。日本人の友達が言いました。Now, in this case, we would assume that one person said it. Like, it's assumed at that point that my Japanese friend said it. Okay? But you could make the sentence later on. There's a way to modify the sentence to say, many of my Japanese friends said it, or all of my Japanese friends said it, and then tomodachi becomes plural. All right? All right, now this is a little bit of a review of what we just did in the last video. Okay? How would you say, nobody said nothing? Nobody didn't say anything. That's what we're trying to say. Nobody said anything. That's what the English is. Nobody said anything. But really what we're saying in Japanese, nobody, nothing didn't say. How would you say that? Let's see if there's any smart people in the stream right now watching. How many of you know how to say that? Oh man, Black Knight, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. 誰も何も言いませんでした。誰も, nobody, 何も言いませんでした didn't say anything. Very good. All right, now let's look at the actual way that we can make plurals in Japanese. Now, the reason why in book 1 I say there are no plurals in Japanese is because if we teach you that there are plurals in Japanese, your tendency will be to want to make plurals. Okay? Because in English we have to. We must say pen, and then multiple pens is pens, and book, right? Book and books. We require the S on the end of it. So if I taught you this in book 1, you would want to do it. If we learned this touchy word that we're getting ready to learn, you would use it. So here we go. So hito, hito, and now I'm saying hito, but it sounds like shito a little bit, right? That's just an accent thing. Hito, hito, hito. You'll hear Japanese people sounds like a shito, but it's not. Hito, hito, hito. So how would you say people? There's a couple ways to say people, but using tachi, you just add it. So you say hitotachi, hitotachi. This means people, okay? That is, now, does that mean that hito cannot mean people? No, it can, because I could say hito ga oi desu. That means there are many people. Hito ga oi desu. But hitotachi means people also. But it can only be plural. It's forced into plural using tachi. Okay? Seito. Seito means student. Okay? How would you say students? Seito tachi. But again, seito can still be plural if I said seito ga 100人います. That means there are 100 students. Okay? But if I could also say seito tachi ga oi, there are many students. All right? Or seito tachi ga kimashita, the students came. All right? Sensei, sensei tachi, teachers. Nihonjin, Japanese or Japanese people, Nihonjin tachi. Okay? Now, another thing that we can do with tachi, Joji, Joji tachi. This is an important one, okay? Joji is how my name is said in Japanese. But if you remember what we learned in prior videos, it's also a way that Japanese say you. they use your own name to say you. So they'll say, for example, if they're asking me, how old are you, George? They would say, George wa nansai desu ka? Instead of anata wa nansai desu ka, they most often are going to say your name as if you're a third person not in the room. How old is George? George-san wa nansai desu ka? Okay. Now when they say Joji Tachi, they're saying you guys. But I'm the leader of that group. I am the representative name used for that group. So let's say that I had my friend Mamiko came from Japan and she brought her friends, and I could ask them, where do they want to go, right? Or are they tired? Mamiko tachi wa nani ga shitai desu ka? We don't know how to say what do you want to do yet. Sorry. That's not coming up until lesson 9 for some reason. It's kind of a bad order in this book 3. If you go to lesson 9, let me confirm that I got the right lesson. Because this is one thing I wish I would have done. Yeah. So this is the lesson when we learn how to do want. I just should have done it much earlier. And I think in a future revision of this book, we are going to move it earlier. But there's just so many things you need to learn that it got pushed ahead. So, shitai, it's tai form. What do you want to do? But in that case, I said Mamiko-san tachi. It means you guys. What do you guys want to do? But I'm using Mamiko as the representative of the group. Now, if we look at this list of tachis, you'll notice that every single one of them is people related. It's people. We cannot use tachi on things. I cannot say pen tachi to mean pens. I can only say pen. So the rule stands that there is no plural for pen. It has to be pen. Pen, okay? Cannot say pen tachi. Or can we? Every rule can be broken. So let's talk about it. How can we use tachi, right? Here, tachi is used only on people to say a group of people, okay? But let's look at something. Inu. Inu is not a person. It's a dog. Typically, you wouldn't do this, but you can say inu tachi. Now, what this does is it gives the dogs human-like quality. Inu tachi. So if I said inu tachi ga kimashita, there's some sort of thought behind that group, right? They are thinking individuals and they did something. That's what tachi does. Okay? I'll further demonstrate it with a non-living object, right? Hoshi. In course 5, I believe it's course 5, book 5, we have a lesson where there's a story about stars falling from the sky and becoming coins for this very poor girl. Okay? And we use this hoshitachi. The stars fell from the sky. What this does is there's a big word in English, anamorphize, I think is the word, it makes them human. It gives them human-like quality. The stars of their own fruition. In other words, from their own desire, the stars fell from the sky and they became coins. It gives them life. That's what Tachi's doing here. Now, you can do it with one star or one thing. For example, you'll hear this, Zo-san. It's like saying Mr. Elephant, Zo-san. You could say Hoshi-san, the star, right? Or Hoshi-chan, right? To make it cute. But that's where, when you add san or tachi or chan or kun or whatever, you can make that thing have life. Now, typically, if you say Hoshi-san, it sounds like you're saying Mr. Hoshi, all right? But for animals, it's very, very common that parents, when they're talking to their children, wow, we're talking about plural and I screwed it up. When they're talking to their children, they'll say Zo-san, Mr. Elephant, instead of just Zo, right? Zo-san. Actually, if you watch Crayon Shin-chan, he says, Zo-san. I probably shouldn't say that, because he's talking about his, he's like naked dancing, and he's calling his thing an elephant. I mean, it's a Japanese children's animation, and he's a little bit crude sometimes, but he's like, Zo-san, Zo-san, all right? But Mr. Elephant, and he's kind of looks like that when you're looking at it. Oh, man, I should have said that. But we can also do this. Zo-san tachi, right? The Zo-san tachi, right? Or Zo tachi, the elephants. And that gives them human-like property. So let's say that these pens came alive. I could say, pen tachi wa, the pens stabbed him in the heart, or whatever they did, these pens came to life, and it's like a horror movie. Or they wrote a novel for me. Pen tachi wa shousetsu wo kakimashita. You know, その晩小説を書きました. That night, the pens wrote out the novel. And then we're saying that they were alive. That is what I lied to you about, and I apologize. Thank you for watching Japanese from Zero. We'll see you all on the next video where we talk about something that I do not remember. Oh, we learn how to say which one is better in lesson 5 of course 3. See you then. Bye.